All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Did you have a good weekend? Hope you did. Did you celebrate Easter or Passover? Did you go to a church or a synagogue? Lots of people did, right? They attended church, and we all, at one point in our lives, we try to figure out what God is and what God is about and what our role is in His plan. And sometimes we just say, you know what, it's really all about His plan, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Aimee Cabo has been with us before. She had some horrible things happening to her early in her life, but she came to a realization that God is the cure and has written about it. Her memoir is called Love is the Answer, God is the Cure. Aimee is a survivor of abuse by family members. It's bad enough to be abused, but by a family member, holy cow. Trauma, poverty, addiction. She had a miscarriage. Her daughter was beaten and almost died in a coma. Oh my gosh, she's had her share of trials and tribulations. Aimee, it's good to have you back on the show.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Am I right? Do you have a new cover for the book? It looks like a different picture than I remember.
Yes, there's a new cover that's more appealing. It's a lady that has, it's a woman, a young woman that has her hands up to the sky praising God.
Yeah, it's a nice cover. The other one was mysterious, and this one maybe says what you wanted to say.
Well, it's just my own personal spiritual experience, but not everybody can see it. It's what I can see in the bark of my tree that's no longer there.
Right.
That's a tornado. That I'm an artist, and I can make out the Virgin Mary holding a baby Jesus.
Right.
And not everyone can.
I remember that. So for the sake of those who didn't hear the interview that we did, I think Robin said it's been a few months ago already. Retell your story a little bit. And say we only have a short interview, so we have to kind of cut to the chase.
Well, basically, since I can remember, since I was very young, I was abused in every way, sexually, physically, and emotionally by my stepfather for about 8 years. My mother, since I was an adolescent, physically and emotionally. And then when I went through some foster homes, because I was orphaned at 15 years old, I was raped. And as a young adult, I was raped, but I also went through domestic violence. I also had 5 miscarriages. I also was forced into an abortion. I also had my daughter almost killed. And life has been challenging throughout. It's been challenging, but I've always had God. And that's what's amazing, that it's not just the miracles that have occurred in my life, like my daughter surviving, but the miracle of what's happened to me, that I've come to see the light, that I'm no longer in darkness, that I haven't let these things affect me, that I was able to survive this. Even went through all the emotions, and I did everything typical of what somebody had gone through all that did.
Tell me about your relationship with God. Did you have a relationship prior to all the bad things happening, or after? And did the abuse and all the other bad things that happened to you help you find God, or actually push you away for a while? It's a lot of times it'll happen. We have bad things happen, and we say, "I don't believe there's a God because all these bad things are happening to me."
Well, that's one thing that I do credit to my mother for, is that she was very spiritual. And I remember when she was when we were very, very young, maybe when I was 3 or 4 years old, she was spiritual and she would talk to us about God. And right before my first memory, I remember having a dream in which Jesus appeared and told me that I can come to him. And because my mother had taught us to pray, and my mother did teach me that if I pray and if I believe, God will save me. That's what I did in my dream. He saved me in my dream, and that's what he did in my life.
How did your daughter handle her part of the trauma? Did she come through it better than you did? How was her handling of it?
Well, that's just it. Life always comes with consequences and challenges. I think that's just part of life. It gives us an opportunity to get closer to God, because it gives us an opportunity to see God's work. And it's just a matter of faith. But my daughter did suffer a severe brain injury. And just coincidentally, this morning I saw on Facebook that a lady did a study in Germany that even among mild cases of brain injury in the armed forces or domestic violence, that it does, even though it gets better in the beginning, it does deteriorate over time. And the person becomes like a person that is in a very acute phase of PTSD, where they have poor impulse control, or it's hard for them to hold back their temper. And it's, they might have a distorted way of seeing things, and they're very easily influenced and easily manipulated. So when the dysfunctional part of my extended family saw that I exposed the truth in my memoir, they were easily able to convince her to hate me and get her to believe a scenario that never occurred, to paint me like a monster. But that's just the consequences. Maybe I didn't expect that one, but I knew there would be consequences.
Oh my!
It was worth it for the greater.
Aimee, have you had feedback from some people who've read your book who can not only relate to what you say in the book, but actually felt some comfort from what you've written?
Yes, it's amazing that I've gotten a lot of feedback on people that say that they're just very hopeful now, that they realize that they're not alone. People that feel, I understand how they felt that they were children of lesser God, that they were too bad for God to love them, or God wouldn't even listen to them. Then they read my book and they see, if God could have forgave me and still loved me, given me a chance, and not only that, even though I suffered for many years, blessed me immensely, then it can happen to anyone else. And all you have to do is believe in God and have God in your life. I swear you will suffer less. If I knew what I knew now, if I know what I know now, then I think I would have suffered a lot less. You just trust God and leave it in His hands.
The bombings in Sri Lanka over the weekend are evidence, I guess. There were people in churches who probably would have told you they believed in God greatly, and yet they were the victims of a bombing. So I don't know that believing in God necessarily shields you from problems in this world. I think it just gives you the promise that this isn't all there is.
Well, I believe God takes the good ones early, and we see death as a sad thing, but it's really going into a better world, a nicer world. Now, this may be it. This may be all we have as a human form to experience what we're experiencing now. When we pass on to heaven, we may be completely something different.
Right.
But I just believe, and that, suffering, it's a very hard thing to understand. But for some reason, believe it or not, God has a way of turning a tragedy into a blessing.
No, I don't. Yeah, I agree with you.
God makes it so that there's nothing that you cannot handle. So.
Right. No, I agree with you. I think the one thing that I would say is that I don't have the answers, and but I do think there is hope, and God is who gives us that hope. And so when somebody is thinking about suicide or something horrible like that, then I say, there is hope. Don't worry, you've got hope, because everybody's got their own set of circumstances. And then somebody who's thinking about doing something bad, I always think, there's a God watching you right now. So whatever you do, it's all, He's taking notes. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have to face up to everything you've done. And if you do good things, then guess what? He's going to give you a pat on the back. You do bad stuff, guess what? You're going to have to face that. So
yeah,
let's hope people hear that message.
It's funny thing that you should mention suicide, because I like to question myself and I like to question everything. And one day I had a question for somebody. If God gives us if God doesn't let us experience anything that we cannot handle, then how is it that some of us commit suicide? And then the person answers, it's very simple. He doesn't allow us to experience anything we cannot handle so long as we have God in our life, so long as we're seeking Him and we're trying to do the right thing. Not if we're acting badly, don't care, have a cool heart.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Well, this is why I like talking to you, Aimee. Let me make sure the listeners can find the book. I found it on Amazon. It's called Love is the Answer, God is the Cure. And you have a website as well, right? What is your website?
GodIsTheCure.com.
All right. And where are you? Where do you live?
Miami, Florida.
Miami. All right.
Yeah.
I know you have good weather today, right?
Excellent. We're very blessed.
Did you have a good Easter?
Excellent. Yes.
Aimee, thank you for coming back on the air with us. That was awesome. I love that.
It was great. Thank you guys so much, and have a beautiful day.
Thank you, and we'll be right back.
Favo presents Symphony Under the Stars May 12th at the Ocala Golf Club, East Silver Springs Boulevard. Gates open at 4 p.m. Concert starts at 7. Advanced VIP tickets available online only. Regular adult tickets $20, $25 at the gate. Children 17 and under free. Bring food, beer, and wine.